Today I'm going to talk about object-oriented design. So actually I want to emphasize the most important rule in object-oriented design. So probably many of you have heard about such terms like inheritance, encapsulation, or polymorphism when it comes to object-oriented programming. Of course, understanding them is very important and probably will help you to write a better code. But they will not guarantee you that you write a proper code in terms of object-oriented design. So what is the most important thing in object-oriented design when you design a structure of objects that are reflecting some business domain? So this is communication. Communication between objects is the most important thing, in my opinion, when it comes to object-oriented design. Why? Because such things like inheritance are more or less smart ways of code reusage. You can achieve similar goals when you use, for example, composition. But if you design communication between objects in bad way, you will run into troubles when your business logic develops, when the program grows. All right, so for now, let's consider following example of bad code that is breaking some essential rules that promotes good communication between objects. All right, so we have object A. Object A has a reference to object B. And for example, some method in object A calls another method from object B. Let's call it MB. And this method returns us some bunch of objects or one object. For now, let's call it some state of B. And having this state of B, we call another method regarding this state, let's say MSB. Yeah? And we can go later with another logic from mentioned method of A. So what's wrong about this code? Probably it will work. However, it breaks two rules that are promoting something which we call in object-oriented design loose coupling. The first, number one rule, which is literally a sentence from the guy Alan Kay, who's inventor of Smalltalk language, he said, tell, don't ask. So this first line of code breaks this rule, because we are not telling object B what to do. We are just asking it about its internal state and make some decision regarding its internal state outside this object. So this rule, tell, don't ask principle, is broken here. Another rule is the Law of Demeter. It is a principle of least knowledge. So it's also broken here, because we are referring to the object that comes from another object, and we call method on it. So we shouldn't do it, because it's very difficult to write proper tests in isolation, unit test for code like this. So this is the one problem. And the second problem that might occur is that when you have many references to internal state of B in, let's say, our network of objects, our code is very vulnerable, and any changes in business implementation of object B, when state of B is replaced by some another structure, in consequence will force us to change multiple places in our code. So this is a cost, of course. Yeah. So let's imagine a network of objects like this. We have object A, object B, and object C. Each of them has some internal state. State of A, state of B, state of C. So in proper object-oriented design, we should never expose internal states of those objects to another objects. But let's for now assume that we will doing that. So object A has a reference to state of B at some point and for state of C. So the problem with testing such a class will be as follows. We would like to test just some logic of object A in isolation from B and C. So in order to do it, we would have probably mock out some states. This one, and this one. And such tests, of course, will be working, but the problem will occur when the implementation of state of B will change or implementation of state of C will change. So we don't like that kind of design in object-oriented programming. So what is the proper way of designing communication between objects? Is as follows. So we have object A. So object A, of course, has a reference to B and call method MB. And for now, let's say it doesn't return any value to A, but the method B operates on the internal state of B. So method B is referring to internal state of B and calling its public method. So we don't have this bunch of code on the level of A. So it's easier for us just to mock a B, method B, to write a stub, for example, when we write a unit test and test object A in isolation. Yeah. So there are two most important rules in object-oriented design. They both promote loose coupling, but the first one is tell, don't ask, and second one is to obey Law of Demeter. Keeping in mind those two rules will save you time and decrease costs of writing your program. So thank you. Of course, I think this example was a bit abstract, but if you have any questions regarding this, please write them in a comment. Thank you.